Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a second. The first time you kissed someone you truly loved, your heart raced, your thoughts froze, and for a brief moment, the world disappeared. That spark, that feeling, it wasn't just about lips touching, it was about presence, emotion, and energy. So why does that feeling fade? Why do kisses lose their magic? First, be present. Don't kiss while your mind is elsewhere. Let your whole being focus on that one beautiful act. A kiss isn't something to get over with. It's something to dive into. We live in a world of increasing distraction. Every moment, our attention is pulled in 100 different directions, by screens, by responsibilities, by the endless noise of modern life. In relationships, this can become dangerous. Not because we stop loving someone, but because we stop noticing them. We begin to treat sacred moments, like a kiss, not as experiences to be felt, but as tasks to be completed. And when something beautiful becomes routine, it starts to lose its meaning. The act remains, but the soul of it begins to fade. Presence is the one thing that separates a kiss from being just a physical gesture and transforms it into a meaningful connection. Being present means letting go of what happened earlier in the day, shutting down the mental to-do list, and giving all your attention to the person in front of you. It means looking into their eyes and really seeing them, not the version of them you think you know, but the one that exists right now, in this moment, with all their thoughts, their emotions, their hopes, and vulnerabilities. Presence is about listening with your whole being, even when no words are being spoken. When you are truly present, the world around you fades. Time slows down. That kiss? It becomes more than a kiss. It becomes a moment of truth. But too often, we treat presence like a luxury instead of a choice. We say we're too tired, too busy, too overwhelmed to slow down. And slowly, the spark that once made our hearts race begins to flicker. Not because love has vanished, but because we stopped showing up for it. We started to believe that just being physically there is enough. It's not. Real connection demands attention. It demands intention. It demands that you value the present moment enough to actually live in it. Think back to the very first time you kissed someone you truly cared about. Your senses were on high alert. You noticed everything. The way they looked at you, the sound of their breath, the space between you closing in. You weren't thinking about what you were going to say next or checking your mental calendar. You were there, fully. That's what made it powerful. That's what made it unforgettable. And that's something you can choose to return to. Not just once in a while, but every day. It starts with awareness. Ask yourself, am I really here right now, or am I somewhere else? Am I going through the motions, or am I choosing to feel this? Am I kissing my partner because it's what we always do before bed, or because I want to communicate something? Gratitude, love, safety, desire, presence. When your answer begins to shift toward the second part of that question, you'll notice a change, not just in your kisses, but in your entire relationship. Presence also means resisting the urge to multitask emotions. We've grown so used to doing 5 things at once that we've lost the art of giving one thing our full heart. But love doesn't respond to divided attention. A kiss while scrolling through your thoughts isn't a kiss, it's a moment lost. Your partner can feel it, you can feel it. It's like watching a movie on mute. You see the motion, but the meaning is gone. When you're present, even a simple touch becomes a form of language. Even a moment of silence becomes a shared breath, a silent promise that says, I'm here, I see you, you matter to me. Being present also requires vulnerability. It means allowing yourself to experience the full depth of the moment without guarding yourself. That's not always easy. Life can harden us. Past pain can make us hesitant. But emotional armor doesn't just keep out pain, it also dulls joy. To truly experience the magic of a kiss, You have to be brave enough to feel it completely, to let the experience of it move you, every time. Making every kiss feel like the first isn't about recreating the past. It's about showing up for the present. It's about valuing the moment enough to give it your full attention. It's about saying, I'm not going to let routine replace passion. And it's about recognizing that presence is the bridge between where you are and where love can take you. Presence is powerful, it's rare, and it's deeply human. It's not about perfection. It's not about grand gestures. It's about making a simple moment sacred again. That's how you keep the spark alive. That's how you breathe life into love. And that's how you make every kiss feel like the first, by treating it like it could be the last, and living it like it matters. Second, connect emotionally. Intimacy starts in the heart. If there's no trust, no vulnerability, the kiss becomes mechanical. But when love is alive and spoken through a look, a gesture, or even silence, that kiss becomes timeless. In any meaningful relationship, emotional connection is the invisible thread that holds everything together. It's the unspoken language that binds two people, the quiet understanding that says, I know you, and I still choose you. When it comes to intimacy, especially something as powerful and personal as a kiss, emotional connection isn't just helpful, it's foundational. Without it, the physical act is hollow. But when it's present, even the smallest gesture carries immense depth. In the early stages of love, emotional connection often forms effortlessly. You're curious about each other. You listen with intensity. You stay up late sharing dreams, memories, fears. Everything feels new and raw and real. But over time, as routine sets in and life gets louder, that emotional closeness can fade if it's not nurtured. We assume that love will carry on by itself, but the truth is that connection requires continuous effort. It's not something you build once and forget. It's something you water daily with attention, presence, and care. You can't fake emotional intimacy. You can say the right words, follow the right steps, and still miss the mark. Because emotional connection doesn't live in performance. It lives in authenticity. It thrives in vulnerability. It grows when two people feel safe enough to be seen without judgment and loved without conditions. It's in the way you share not just your day, but your thoughts. Not just your plans, but your doubts. It's in those quiet moments when you're not trying to impress each other, just trying to understand each other. The power of a kiss isn't just in how it feels on the outside, but in what it communicates from the inside. When two people are emotionally connected, a kiss becomes more than a form of affection. It becomes a form of expression. It says, I'm here with you, I care about you, I feel what you feel. And that level of depth can't be reached if your relationship exists only on the surface. That's why it's so important to prioritize emotional connection first. It's not about being perfect partners. It's about being present partners. Listening not to reply, but to truly hear. Speaking not to fill space, but to share truth. Being honest even when it's uncomfortable, and supportive even when it's hard. Emotional closeness is built in the day-to-day choices, choosing to talk instead of scroll, choosing to ask how your partner really feels instead of assuming they're fine, choosing to lean in when it would be easier to pull away. Without that foundation, even the most passionate kiss loses its power. It becomes a shell, a habit, something done more out of expectation than inspiration. But when emotional connection leads the way, a kiss can heal, it can reassure, it can reignite. Because it's no longer just about chemistry, it's about communion. It's not just about touching someone's body, it's about reaching their heart. There's a difference between kissing someone and making them feel kissed. The first is about action. The second is about emotion. And to truly make someone feel kissed, you have to know what's going on inside them. You have to take time to understand what they're carrying, what makes them smile, what weighs on their soul, what they need but may not know how to ask for. Emotional connection gives you access to that inner world. And when you meet your partner there, even simple gestures begin to feel profound. Building that connection doesn't require grand gestures or constant deep conversations. Sometimes it's built in shared silence, in thoughtful questions, in laughing over nothing, in checking in. Not just when something's wrong, but even when everything seems fine. It's the effort to remain emotionally available, even when life is exhausting. It's the commitment to grow together, to keep learning each other even after years have passed. And when that emotional bond is strong, physical closeness becomes more than pleasure. It becomes a celebration. It becomes the natural overflow of everything you've built together internally. That's when a kiss feels electric again. Not because of the technique, but because of the truth behind it. Because the person you're kissing isn't just someone you're physically close to. They're someone you're emotionally connected with. And that changes everything. Making every kiss feel like the first time doesn't start at the lips. It starts in the heart. It begins with choosing to stay emotionally open, with choosing to prioritize connection over convenience. Because it's easy to let days turn into weeks without real emotional closeness. It's easy to fall into the rhythm of routine and forget to check in, forget to share, forget to feel. But love doesn't thrive in autopilot. It grows in conscious care. So if you want your kisses to be full of life again, full of meaning and spark, start by reaching for the heart before you reach for the lips. Start by building the kind of connection that doesn't need words to be understood. Because when your hearts are in sync, even the quietest kiss can echo for a lifetime. Third, make eye contact. Build anticipation. Sometimes it's not the kiss that's powerful, it's the moment right before. That second when both people know something meaningful is about to happen. There's a moment right before a kiss that most people don't talk about. But it's in that moment where the magic truly lives. That heartbeat of stillness, that quiet tension in the air, that split second where everything hangs in the balance. That's not just a pause, it's anticipation. And anticipation is a powerful force. It's what turns an ordinary kiss into an unforgettable one. It's the buildup that makes the fall feel deeper, the silence that makes the sound more profound, the waiting that makes the reward sweeter. Before lips ever meet, the eyes often do. And in that connection, something unspoken happens. Eye contact is one of the most intimate forms of communication. It strips away distractions, silences the noise of the world, and creates a tunnel between two souls. In a single glance, you can say everything you're too afraid to voice out loud. You can express affection, apology, desire, reassurance, or even vulnerability without speaking a single word. That kind of connection sets the stage for what's about to happen. It prepares the heart. It builds a bridge of trust. Most people rush past this moment. They focus so much on the kiss itself that they forget the power of what comes before. But when you allow space for anticipation, when you look into someone's eyes and just stay there, present and calm, something begins to build. It's not tension in the sense of discomfort, it's energy, emotional electricity. It says, I see you, I feel something, and I want this to mean something. Too often, people think passion is about speed, about intensity, about doing more. But sometimes, real passion comes from slowing down, from allowing the moment to stretch, from letting the air fill with emotion before anything even happens. That patience, that awareness, is where deep connection grows. Because it tells the other person that you're not just interested in the act, you're invested in the moment, that you're not just touching their body, you're reaching for their soul. Anticipation isn't about playing games or withholding affection. It's about letting the emotional atmosphere settle, letting the moment become sacred. It's about giving space for both people to feel, to want, to lean in with intention. When you rush, you skip the buildup. And when you skip the buildup, you miss the magic. It's in the way you look at someone like they're the only person in the world. It's in the way your hand reaches for theirs without words. It's in the way you both smile before your lips ever meet. These are the little things that make a kiss feel like the first time, even if it's the 1000th. Because it's not just about contact, it's about connection. Emotional readiness creates physical electricity, and eye contact is often the spark that lights the fire. When you were young, maybe you experienced that feeling, the kind where your heart beat faster just because someone looked at you a certain way. That wasn't just hormones or novelty, that was your body responding to genuine anticipation, to the power of being seen, to the energy of what might happen. And the good news is, you never outgrow that feeling. You just forget to create the conditions for it. You forget to pause. You forget to look. You forget to feel before you act. Real connection isn't complicated. It's created through small, intentional moments. Holding someone's gaze just a little longer. Breathing in the silence together. Being close enough to touch, but choosing to wait a second longer. That second is where meaning is made. That's where anticipation lives. That's where a kiss begins. Not on the lips, but in the space between. In a world that moves too fast, where everything is about shortcuts and instant gratification, anticipation teaches you to slow down, to value the buildup, to honor the unfolding. And when you combine that with sincere eye contact, you create a moment that neither of you will forget. You create something that feels personal, deliberate, and emotionally rich. That's when a kiss stops being an action and starts becoming an experience. Making every kiss feel like the first time is not about replicating the past. It's about creating a fresh present. It's about choosing to feel deeply, to connect intentionally, and to allow space for the moment to bloom. And it all starts with the eyes, with the courage to look and be looked at, with the willingness to feel something real. That's the beginning of anticipation. And anticipation, when treated with care, leads to something far more powerful than passion. It leads to presence, to memory, to meaning. So if you ever want to bring back the spark, to make your kisses unforgettable again, don't rush to get there. Wait in the silence, hold their gaze, feel the weight of the moment. Because sometimes the most powerful part of a kiss is everything that leads up to it. Fourth, keep it fresh. Change the scenery. Go for a walk in the rain. Kiss under the stars. Kiss in the middle of a random laugh. Life is unpredictable. Let your love be too. Over time, even the most passionate love stories risk becoming predictable. It doesn't mean love is gone. It simply means familiarity has crept in and wrapped itself around the relationship like a blanket. Comfort is beautiful, but too much of it can dull the edges of passion. What once made your heart skip a beat now feels expected. What once felt spontaneous now feels scheduled. And slowly, without even realizing it, the excitement begins to fade. But it doesn't have to. Love, when nurtured with creativity, never loses its spark. It just needs moments of novelty to wake it up. Creating novelty is not about being dramatic or constantly chasing grand experiences. It's about introducing small changes that disrupt the routine and bring freshness back into the connection. It's about doing something different, not to impress, but to re-engage. When you change your environment, shift your timing, or surprise your partner with the unexpected, you invite curiosity back into the relationship. And curiosity is one of the core ingredients of desire. It keeps you wondering, exploring, reaching, learning. It makes you feel alive again. Think about the times when your kisses felt electric. Chances are they happened during moments that were new or slightly unpredictable. Maybe it was in a new city, or during a spontaneous night out, or after a deep conversation that left you emotionally open. These moments felt unforgettable not just because of the kiss, but because of the experience surrounding it. The unfamiliar setting, the surprise in the moment, the emotional energy. It all contributed to how alive the kiss felt. That's the power of novelty. It doesn't change the people involved, it changes the energy around them. Routine can be comforting, but it can also become a trap. You start doing the same things in the same ways at the same times. Even affection becomes part of the checklist. Hug before leaving, kiss before bed, say "I love you" out of habit. Nothing's wrong, but something's missing. Novelty is the antidote. It interrupts the pattern. It says, let's make this moment different. It's the difference between a kiss in the kitchen while the TV plays in the background and a kiss under the stars after a late-night drive. Same people, same love, different feeling. You don't need to travel the world or plan elaborate dates to bring freshness into your relationship. It can be as simple as changing your routine, sharing a meal in a new spot, taking a walk at a different time, surprising your partner with a handwritten note or a look that says, "I still choose you." It's about intentional variation, breaking the pattern, not the bond. It's about realizing that effort is romantic. Attention is attractive. Creativity is a form of love. When you create novelty, you're telling your partner that you're still curious about them, that you haven't stopped learning them, that you're still invested in creating moments worth remembering. And that message, spoken through action, is what keeps passion alive. It reignites interest. It brings out sides of each other you haven't seen in a while. It creates opportunities for laughter, for connection, for rediscovery. And in those new experiences, kisses begin to feel alive again, not because they've changed, but because you have changed the context in which they happen. Novelty also keeps you engaged in the relationship. When you take initiative to change things up, to plan something different, to bring excitement into the everyday, you feel more present. You stop living on autopilot. You start paying attention. And that awareness brings more meaning to everything, including physical touch. When you're more alive in the moment, everything you do in that moment becomes more meaningful. The way you hold your partner's hand, the way you smile at them across a room, the way you lean in for a kiss, not out of habit, but out of a real desire to connect. Every love story has its rhythm. But it's important to pause now and then and ask yourself, are we dancing, or are we just going through the motions? If the answer leans toward the latter, novelty is your way back into the music. It's not about fixing anything. It's about reawakening something. And when you do that, when you bring surprise, creativity, and intention back into your connection, you breathe new life into your kisses. You make them feel less like punctuation and more like poetry, less like a routine and more like a revelation. Because love doesn't die in conflict. It dies in neglect. It dies in the quiet fading of excitement. And the way to keep it alive is to keep choosing it, not just in words, but in actions that say, "This still matters to me." Novelty reminds both of you that love is not just something you feel, it's something you create, again and again, differently each time. And when you do, you'll find that even the simplest kiss can feel like the first, because you chose to make it feel new. Fifth, don't chase perfection. A kiss is not a performance, it's a reflection. Be real. Be soft when you feel safe. Be intense when you're passionate. Let the kiss be an expression, not a technique. In a world that constantly demands results, performance often takes center stage. We're taught to achieve, impress, and execute, to turn every interaction into something polished and flawless. But when it comes to love, especially intimate moments, that mindset doesn't always serve us. Because in love, being present matters more than being perfect. What makes a moment powerful isn't how well you perform, it's how deeply you show up. So many people try to make a kiss memorable by thinking about how to do it right. They get caught up in the pressure of technique, of replicating something from a movie or chasing a reaction. But real connection doesn't happen because of how you move. It happens because of how you feel. You can follow all the steps, do everything by the book, and still leave the moment empty. Because your body was there, but your mind wasn't. Your focus was on doing, not on being. Presence means you are fully in the moment, not thinking about how you look, not worrying about how it's being received, just there, with them, feeling, sensing, aware. It's about slowing down enough to hear the quiet between the words. It's about letting go of expectation and tuning into intention. Presence doesn't just make a kiss better, it transforms it. It turns it into something unforgettable because both people feel seen, felt, and safe. A kiss, at its core, is not a performance. It's not a scene in a show. It's not something you need to rehearse. It's a moment of emotional truth. It's two people saying, "I'm here with you. Right now, nothing else matters." And when you kiss with that kind of presence, it doesn't matter if it's slow or fast, long or short, planned or spontaneous. What matters is that it feels real. And what's real leaves an imprint. In life, we're often distracted by our phones, by our thoughts, by the next thing on our schedule. We've become experts at multitasking, but we've forgotten how to give one person our full attention. Presence is a gift, a rare one. And when you offer it to someone, they can feel it instantly. It says, "You're not just part of this moment, you are the moment." That kind of focus doesn't just improve connection, it deepens it. It invites intimacy. It creates emotional safety. It makes everything you do together feel meaningful, no matter how small. Sometimes presence requires courage. To be fully present with someone means being open, vulnerable, emotionally exposed. It means letting them see you, not the version you polish for the world, but the one that breathes, that feels, that wants deeply. That's why it's easier to hide behind performance. It gives us a script, a shield, but it also puts distance between hearts. And distance is the enemy of connection. The most unforgettable kisses don't happen because of skill. They happen because of sincerity. Because you weren't trying to impress. You were simply trying to connect. You weren't thinking about how it looked. You were lost in how it felt. And those are the moments that stay with you. The ones that make time slow down. The ones that remind you what love is really about. Presence, not perfection. Being present also means paying attention to your partner's energy, their body language, the emotions beneath the surface. It means being sensitive to shifts in mood and responding with care instead of autopilot. When you're present, you listen better, you feel more, you give more authentically, and in return, you receive more deeply. That exchange, rooted in awareness, is what makes intimacy truly satisfying. It's easy to believe that you need to constantly bring something new to the table in order to keep love alive. But sometimes, all you need to bring is your full self. No distractions, no agenda, just you, here, now. That level of focus is rare, and it's healing. Because in a world where most people only give partial attention, to be fully seen and felt is profound. Even in the smallest acts, holding hands, brushing against each other in the hallway, leaning in for a kiss, presence makes the difference between forgettable and unforgettable. You could be doing something as simple as sitting beside each other on the couch. But if you're both present, that moment carries weight. Presence turns the ordinary into the sacred. It elevates everything it touches. So if you want your kisses to feel like the first time again, don't search for a new move or a clever trick. Just be there, fully. Turn off the world. Turn toward your partner. Let your thoughts go quiet. Let your heart speak instead. And when you do that, when you trade performance for presence, you unlock something deeper than chemistry. You unlock connection. And in that connection, every kiss becomes timeless. Because love isn't something you execute. It's something you experience, moment by moment, breath by breath. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Sixth, speak through silence. Words may lie, but energy doesn't. Let your kiss say what your voice sometimes can't. I see you. I cherish you. I'm still here. There is a kind of bravery that doesn't roar. It doesn't shout or flex or demand attention. It simply opens up and says, "This is me. This is how I feel, and I trust you enough to see it." That's emotional vulnerability. And when it shows up between two people, it transforms everything, especially something as simple, as powerful as a kiss. A kiss is not just about lips meeting. It's about hearts opening. And when a heart opens without walls, when there is no mask, no pretending, no holding back, something powerful happens. The energy changes. The moment deepens. Suddenly, the kiss isn't just a kiss. It becomes a reflection of truth. Not a performance, not a habit, but a moment soaked in honesty. And honesty is what makes something unforgettable. Most people hide behind layers. Layers of fear, of pride, of past wounds. They protect themselves because somewhere along the way, they learned that being soft meant being weak. That opening up meant risking rejection. So they guard their emotions. They keep their feelings just beneath the surface, close enough to hint at, but never fully revealed. And in doing so, they keep love at a distance. But love thrives in guarded places. It grows where people are real with each other. Emotional vulnerability is not about oversharing or being dramatic. It's not about always saying the perfect thing. It's about letting someone in. It's about allowing yourself to be seen in your joy, your uncertainty, your longing, and even your fear. And when that happens, when someone lets you see their emotional truth and you meet it with presence, something sacred is created. Trust is deepened. Connection becomes intimate. And the kiss that follows doesn't just touch the lips, it reaches the soul. To make a kiss feel like the first time again, you have to be willing to show up like you did the first time, with wonder, with honesty, with nerves, with hope. Vulnerability brings all of that back. It strips away the roles and the expectations. It reminds you that love is not something you control, it's something you experience. You feel the fear of being hurt, and you kiss anyway. You feel the ache of uncertainty, and you reach out anyway. That choice to show up despite the risk is what makes it real. So many relationships lose their spark, not because the people stop loving each other, but because they stop revealing themselves to each other. They start to assume, to expect, to act out patterns. But emotional vulnerability disrupts that. It brings freshness, because it's unpredictable. It's human. It's alive. You don't always know how it will be received, but you offer it anyway. And in that offering, you say, I want this to be deeper. I want this to matter. When two people are emotionally vulnerable with each other, even silence feels full. Even the smallest touch feels intentional, because everything is colored with feeling. There's no need to fill the space with noise or distractions. You're not trying to escape discomfort. You're meeting it together. And in that space, a kiss becomes more than physical. It becomes emotional storytelling. It says things words can't. It communicates apology, forgiveness, affection, gratitude, longing, all in one simple, sacred act. But vulnerability doesn't just show up on its own. It's a choice, a daily one. It requires safety, but it also requires courage. You have to be willing to ask, what am I really feeling right now? And then be brave enough to share it. Not to manipulate or to get a reaction, but simply to connect, to stand in truth. That kind of openness is magnetic. It draws people in, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. In those moments when you let someone see the parts of you that are unfinished or unsure, you're not weakening the connection, you're strengthening it. Because you're saying, I trust you enough to be human around you. That trust is what makes love feel safe. It's what makes touch feel warm. It's what makes a kiss feel like home. Emotional vulnerability also invites your partner to do the same. It creates a space where both people can put down their armor. And when that happens, love stops being a battle. It becomes a sanctuary, a place of rest, of healing, of closeness. In that space, even an ordinary kiss can become extraordinary. Because it's not about what's happening on the surface, it's about what's alive beneath it. So if you're searching for a way to bring back the electricity, the intimacy, the depth in your kisses, start by opening up. Share how you feel. Speak your heart, even when your voice shakes. Let yourself be seen. Because when you do, you remind the other person that they're not alone in their vulnerability. You meet them in that raw, honest place where real love begins. And in that moment, when your guard is down, when your heart is open, when your presence is full, when you kiss, it won't just feel like the first time. It'll feel like the realest time, every time. And finally, stay grateful. Every kiss is a gift. Every moment with the person you love is a chance to say, I don't take this for granted. A kiss, no matter how passionate or tender, cannot carry the weight of an entire relationship on its own. For it to feel like the first time, every time, it must be rooted in something deeper than physical closeness. It must grow from a well of emotional connection that extends far beyond the moment your lips meet. If you want your kisses to spark, to stir, to stay in memory like the first time did, then you have to make sure the connection outside of the kiss is just as alive. Emotional connection doesn't happen by accident. It's not built in loud moments or grand gestures alone. It's created in the quiet, everyday exchanges. It's in the way you ask about their day and really listen. It's in the way you notice the little things, how they curl up when they're tired, the shift in their voice when something's bothering them, the way their eyes light up when they talk about what they love. Emotional connection is built in attention, in curiosity, in presence. And when it's strong, it carries into every touch, every glance, every kiss. There are couples who kiss every day and still feel distant, and there are others who, with just a look or a gentle brush of hands, feel deeply seen. The difference isn't the action, it's the connection behind it. When you invest in truly knowing your partner, understanding their fears, hopes, stories, and triggers, you create a kind of intimacy that cannot be faked. That intimacy becomes the foundation on which every romantic gesture is built. And from that place, even the smallest kiss can feel like magic. This connection grows when both people feel emotionally safe. When you know you can speak without being judged. When your vulnerability isn't dismissed, but held with care. When you can be fully yourself, not a version, not a performance, but your actual self, and be loved in return. That level of comfort builds trust, and trust turns physical affection into emotional resonance. Without it, kisses may be sweet, but they won't be memorable. With it, they become something you carry with you long after the moment has passed. Deepening emotional connection also means showing up when it's hard. It means not shutting down during conflict. It means being available not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Being there when it's uncomfortable. Choosing patience over distance. Choosing compassion over ego. These decisions, these quiet, difficult choices, build a bond that no routine or habit can replicate. And from that bond, physical intimacy becomes less about need and more about meaning. When you spend time with your partner beyond the surface level, you also begin to synchronize in invisible ways. You become attuned to their emotional rhythms. You know when something is off, even when they say they're fine. You celebrate their wins like they're your own. You carry their burdens without being asked. This kind of emotional alignment cannot be rushed. It comes with time, with effort, with honest communication. But once it's there, everything else becomes more powerful, especially the kiss. Because it's no longer just a physical expression, it's a shared language between two souls who have chosen to truly know each other. Even the space between kisses becomes meaningful when emotional connection is strong. You find intimacy in conversation, in shared silence, in working toward goals together. You laugh more. You forgive quicker. You grow as individuals, yet never stop holding hands through the process. This is what makes a relationship not just survive, but evolve. And in that evolution, the kiss becomes a marker of progress, not just passion. It says, we're still here. We're still choosing each other. That consistency, grounded in connection, breathes new life into every moment. You can't fake emotional connection. You can't shortcut your way to it. It's built through honesty, patience, presence, and deep respect. It's not about being perfect. It's about being available. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. That's the kind of connection that doesn't fade when routine sets in. It holds steady when the world gets loud, and it keeps love from becoming a memory by turning it into something living, breathing, and always unfolding. So if you want your kisses to feel like they once did, full of energy, anticipation, emotion, then begin outside of the kiss. Ask better questions. Be a better listener. Be slower to judge and quicker to understand. Be more present in the mundane, because that's where love hides when it's not performing. Water the emotional roots of your connection, and you'll find that physical closeness grows naturally, with new depth every time. And then, when your lips meet, it won't just feel familiar. It'll feel meaningful, like something sacred is being shared, something earned, something real. Because the truth is, a kiss that is only physical will always fade. But a kiss that's tied to emotion, to shared stories, to mutual growth, that kind of kiss stays. It deepens, it evolves, and over time, instead of chasing the feeling of the first kiss, you begin to experience something even better. The feeling of a love that has grown deeper, richer, and more alive with every passing day. You don't need a special night or a romantic song to make it meaningful. All you need is presence, love, and the courage to feel fully. Because the truth is, love doesn't fade. Attention does. So, give your full attention, and you'll find that every kiss can feel like the first.